How's it going? I just want to briefly make this little statement that this video will not be that heavily edited as well as some of my other videos because I'm kind of dealing with a little issue with my wrist and I don't want to risk making it any worse than it already is by spending a lot of time doing this because I have iMovie and it's very annoying and meticulous, so sometimes I spend about an hour and a half editing and I can't do that right now, but I will try to do a little bit of editing to make sure that you don't have to have all these weird long scenes, or if anything big happens and I have to chug it out, I'll do that. But I'm sorry there won't be transitions and a lot more stuff. It's just I don't want to risk messing up my hand anymore because I kind of need this, English major, all I do is type, so. We're at the halfway point with The Legend of Korra, episode 6, and the winner is. This was a really great episode to make the whole Taylor Swifting thing they were doing last episode. Even though I enjoyed the relationship dynamics of the last episode, I feel like at the same time, I don't know if I can judge it correctly until I've seen the entire series to see if that episode really helped anything or if it just was a big fillery waste of time. But this episode really brought it back to where it needed to be. We see the comrades working together, Korra, Mako, and Bolin, and they are doing well. They're punching out pictures of the guy from the wolf bats, and everything's going well. They're really excited for the game until Amon comes on the radio talking about how he wants to take down the pro bending tournament because he doesn't want them to idealize benders and all that kind of shit. So he tells the council to shut it down. And of course Korra and them are like, no, not our games. And so they go to the council and they have this whole big argument. Tarlok in the beginning, agrees with Tenzin in the idea that it's dangerous to still have the tournament running, especially when Amon could just come from anywhere. But Lin Beifong, hey girl, comes in and she's like, I will guarantee personally the safety of everyone in the stage with her own guards, which is really interesting. But this was very weird to me because while I understand why Korra and Bolin and Mako already did, I'm kind of like, you really should cancel this thing. I mean, Amon is dangerous. You have this whole task force dedicated to the fact that you believe that he is dangerous. I mean, his whole thing is that he's training these people to fight benders. You having more benders there doesn't exactly help the situation. But, I don't know, maybe that's just me. But I just thought the whole thing was silly. They should just cancel the tournament in the first place. Then we see, Lin and Tenzin talking, and we find out after Lin leaves that Tenzin and Lin used to date, and that the woman that his wife was talking about in the last episode was Lin Beifong, and I thought that was really interesting because when, it's grown up, it's next generation Tang, so that's kind of entertaining. But also, I think that they put a face to the woman, because they always make it this woman. I'm like, it's Lin Beifong. Everyone knows who this lady is. Why'd you just call her some other girl? I already told you I hate that whole idea of I'm gonna take her away. And obviously Lin cared about Tenzin, but I don't like the idea that she's bitter. I mean, I don't think they were portraying her completely as bitter, but there is a level of bitterness in the way he's she's mad at you, Korra, because she's mad at me. And it's kind of I would hope that it would be more that she was close to Aang, and so another avatar isn't that she really wants around because she has that image of Aang in her mind, and I think that makes more sense. But hopefully, when they explore it more, we'll find out more about what Lin felt about Aang and things like that. Then we have the pro bending tournament, and the wolf bats are basically cheating. They paid off the refs. Everything is a mess. They're using illegal maneuvers. They're just they're doing everything wrong. And even though our team is trying to fight back and win, they can't do any illegal maneuvers because the refs are paid off. So anything that they do that's illegal will be penalized against them. So Korra and her team lose, but thank God they did because Amon and his cheat blocking people were in the crowd sneaking in, taking their things out of popcorn boxes, and I was kind of oh child, this shit is real. And it was just kind of they just took everyone down with their tasers and everything, and that was a great scene. That tension when you just see them slowly putting on their little hoods and everything, I was kind of oh god, this is awesome. And then they take down all the metal benders because they're taking them by surprise. And then Amon comes in and takes the bending away from all the wolf bats. And Tano is begging not to have his bending taken away. It's just oh my god, it's so tense. And he takes the bending away from the wolf bats and he talks about how, how they celebrating cheaters who've won, and just how you know, the Wolfbats cheated, benders are cheating non-benders out of their livelihood all the time, and he tells people about how now they won't have to hide in the shadows because they're going to come out and gain equality, and it's just a really intense scene. And then Korra, what I didn't understand is because Korra, Bolin, and Mako were like underneath the water, but I don't remember them getting chi blocks. I'm just kind of like, why aren't you like using your bending to get up there, or like using your bending to get out? 'Cause I don't remember the chi blockers taking their bending away, because Korra just uses it after she gets the ropes cut off. So I'm just like, why didn't you just like use your bending to get the ropes off in the first place? But and she tries to go after Amon, and she you know, there's a great scene. She has like she takes all this water and she rises up, and then Lin, who is finally awake, and she uses her metal bending ropes, and it's like, that was some badassery right there. She make her mama proud. I was like, that's right. You showed them why you Beifong. And she just kind of whips around and does like nice Catwoman shit, taking down people. And I tell you, they were killing motherfuckers, because there's this one person who was like a Equalist. She dragged her ass from that blimp flat on down. People die in Avatar. It was like, no, you know, it's kid show. They don't die. It's implied, okay? It's implied that when a thing blows up and there are no parachutes, that those people died. Stop making it up. They killing people. It's for real. And Korra does this great move where she just like, she throws a bolt of fire straight up into the balloon, but Amon just kind of like, whatever, jump out the way. I was just like, I love him. He is a real badass villain. I mean, we don't know enough about him beyond that he's just cool looking right now, but right now that's okay. I can deal with that because he's really fucking cool. And when Korra got knocked out temporarily, we got another flashback of older Aang and older Toph going after some man with this collar. I believe he looks like he was Fire Nation, and you see it looks like Aang took this person's bending away. So I'm really interested to see what that's about. I really want to know more. I hate the fact that I want her to get knocked out more so we can actually see what's going on. But Lin and Korra finally work together, and they try to defeat Amon, but when Korra gets knocked off, Lin gives up the chase for Amon and instead goes to save Korra, which allows Amon to escape on their like blimp. But I don't know why I didn't just blow the blimp up. Maybe I'm just being too extreme. I've been like, bam, problem solved, everyone died. But I guess that would be setting a bad image, wouldn't it? Anyway, I loved this episode. The fight sequences were intense. The development things we find out about, you know, Lin and Tenzin and Korra was all really interesting. But I swear to God, Asami is evil. If she's not evil or something really out there, I'm going to be upset. Because you see her in the beginning, send her little river song smooches over to Mako, then she's never seen again. When Mako goes to make sure that Korra's okay, you don't see Asami anywhere. And you would think that he would go look after his girlfriend, unless he went to like the Zuko school of girlfriends where like, as soon as he escaped from her, he's like, I'll see you in the finale. But I don't think so. So I'm just like, she's evil. She better be. Or otherwise, I feel like her character has been kind of a waste. And I do want to like her. It's not like I think like, oh, she's in the way or anything. Like, I don't care who she dates. I want her to actually be a character. And so far, they haven't given any hints to that. I'm really interested to see what they do with the Wolfbats now that their bending is gone. What's going to happen to them. And now we'll actually see if these effects are long-lasting, hopefully. And I really want to see more in the streets about what's going on with between benders and non-benders. Because another reviewer that I watched, Lycan fans, talking about he doesn't really buy the Equalist side of the story. Now, I personally do, because I kind of understand the whole privilege aspect of bending. If you are a person who is born with the ability to manipulate one of the elements, of course you're going to be privileged. Of course you're going to be at a higher stage because you can do that. That's not equal to somebody who has to, use special sticks in order to do it. I mean, they are like tricked out tasers, but they are tricked out tasers. If they don't have them anymore, they can't defend themselves besides just their own fighting technique. Benders have an advantage, and I think that that's kind of obvious, especially if you, in real life, just think about how that would work. If there are people with special abilities, and there's enough of them because of the population and because they're made to be like a spiritual aspect to bending. So they're not people who are like in the dregs of society. They're not a minority. So why wouldn't they have privilege? That's what privilege is. They have power and they have authority. So it makes sense to me in just the main frame of the show why the Equalists have that stance and why I think it makes sense. However, I want to see more of Korra realizing this. Because I think right now it's empty words. And Amon is probably going to be duplicit and probably lie about his past. Maybe, maybe not. But at the end of the day, his point about the inequality between benders and non-benders still stands. And if the show doesn't explore that, I kind of feel like we get cheated out of this whole story. Because it's a really important aspect of the relationship between benders and non-benders. Everything he says about the modern technology thing is totally true. And, you know, it reminds me of The Incredibles when Syndrome was a manufacturer all these things so that everyone can be superheroes. Because then no one is super anymore. And that mixed up idea of equality and what it really truly means. And I feel like for a kids show, that's a really important topic to discuss and a really important thing to break through, but they haven't really developed it. I mean, you see all these people who are part of these Equalist rallies, but they're never out on the surface because obviously, you know, who runs the city? Benders. Who runs the police? Benders. I mean, the metal benders are the police. The people you have to go to if you get in trouble with benders are more benders. I mean, that's not a jury of your peers. So, let's show that more bluntly. You know, I feel like even I make all these arguments, you could be like, well, that's probably not what they mean. I think that's what it's supposed to be saying, and I want them to actually show that. I think that's important to this world. And I think with the mature themes that this show already tackles, there's no reason they can't develop this. Final thing, do you know how obnoxious it is to watch this show and not get a preview? Instead you see a little preview for I Fucking Carly, and the next thing you see right after it is SpongeBob. It's like, before Korra, SpongeBob. After Korra, SpongeBob. What? I can't. So, great episode. Asami's evil. Korra's badass. Lin Beifong is my hero. Tenzin's wife, she's a trick. I don't like her no more because she thinks it's okay to break her relationships because she has her own feelings. Whatever. Cool. Okay. Tarlok, people think he's Amon. I don't know. I don't think he's cool enough. He's Gastonin right now. He's just brown Gaston. He just wants power. I don't think he has the chutzpah to be Amon. I really doubt it. But I am interested to see more of the past gang and really having an episode surrounding about what happened with them. For her to have to go to the spirit world and talk to Aang and see what happens. Like, those Aang Roku scenes we used to get in the back, you know, we need to bring that back with some Korra Aang action. Because, first of all, older Aang looking very swift. Looking very good, future Aang. Good job, Katara. And I just think it's interesting. I mean, that's a story that I feel like really would make a difference in moving this plot from point A to point B, because we need to connect the two worlds. We need to know what's been happening throughout this time break to make the world be where it is today. So, looking forward to next week, and we're halfway done with Korra. That's very upsetting, so hopefully we won't have any more filler or any kind of ridiculousness, and from now on we'll just be plot on, and we just have little subtle things.